I installed the security camera the day after Diana accidentally shattered my late mother's crystal vase. My name is Olivia Bennett, and at 24, I was living in my childhood home with my father and his new wife of 2 years, trying to save money for grad school. That decision nearly cost me my life. She tripped James. You know how careless she can be on those stairs. Diana's syrupy voice drifted through my haze of pain as I lay on the emergency room bed. Thank goodness I was there to call for help. The ER doctor, Dr. Sarah Chin, glanced up from examining my injuries, her eyes sharp and observant. I could see she wasn't buying Diana's performance, especially after noting the peculiar pattern of bruises on my back. Ms. Bennett, Dr. Chen addressed me directly, ignoring Diana's hovering presence. Can you tell me exactly what happened? Before I could speak, my father stepped forward. She fell down the stairs, doctor. Diana saw the whole thing. Yes, Diana saw the whole thing. She saw it because she caused it. I remember her hands on my back, the sudden force, the momentary weightlessness before gravity took over. The security camera in the hallway caught it all. Not that anyone knew about that yet. Olivia has always been unsteady on her feet, Diana added, patting my hand with false concern. I wanted to pull away, but my entire body screamed in protest at any movement. Ever since her mother passed, she's been troubled. My mother, gone 5 years now from cancer, and Diana had swooped in barely a year later, claiming to help my grieving father heal. Instead, she'd systematically begun trying to erase every trace of Mom from our home, including, it seemed, her only daughter. These injuries, Dr. Chen said carefully, are inconsistent with a simple fall. I saw Diana's perfectly manicured fingers tighten on her designer handbag. What exactly are you implying? I'm not implying anything, Dr. Chen replied coolly. I'm stating that the impact pattern suggests force was applied before the fall. My father's face darkened. Now wait a minute. Also, Dr. Chen continued, there are defensive bruises on her arms that occurred before the fall. I closed my eyes, remembering Diana grabbing me earlier when I caught her trying to access my private bank account on my laptop. You ungrateful little snitch. She had snarled, her perfectly composed mask slipping for a moment. I know you've been telling your father lies about me. Mr. Bennett, Dr. Chen said, I need to speak with your daughter privately. Absolutely not, Diana interjected. We're family. We handle things as a family. A nurse appeared with a tablet, showing Dr. Chen something that made her frown deepen. These preliminary scans show 3 cracked ribs, a sprained wrist, and potential internal bruising. This was no simple fall. I gathered my courage, knowing the security footage was safely backed up to my cloud account. I want to speak with the doctor alone. Olivia, my father's voice carried a warning tone. Diana is just trying to help. Mr. Bennett, Dr. Chen's voice was firm. Your adult daughter has requested privacy for her medical consultation. I must ask you and your wife to step out. Diana's face tightened for a fraction of a second before her mask of concern returned. Of course, whatever makes dear Olivia comfortable. Come, James. As they left, I saw Diana pull out her phone, fingers flying over the keys. Probably calling her lawyer brother, I thought. She always did when she felt threatened. Once they were gone, Dr. Chen sat beside my bed. Olivia, you're safe here. Whatever you need to tell me. I have proof, I whispered, my voice shaking. Security camera footage. She pushed me. Dr. Chen's eyes widened slightly, but she maintained her professional composure. I'm going to call in our hospital social worker and security team. We can help you access that footage safely. She'll try to delete it, I said urgently. She always covers her tracks. Not this time, Dr. Chen assured me, pressing the call button. We have protocols for situations like this. Your father may not be ready to see the truth, but we are mandated reporters. We will protect you. As if on cue, my phone buzzed with an alert. Someone was trying to access my cloud storage. Diana must have gotten my laptop password somehow, but she didn't know about my 2-factor authentication or the second backup I created. Thank you, I whispered to Dr. Chen, feeling tears slip down my cheeks. For the first time since Diana entered our lives, someone was taking me seriously. The truth has a way of coming out, Dr. Chen said gently. Sometimes it just needs a little help. As hospital security arrived and Dr. Chen began explaining the situation, I heard Diana's voice rising in the hallway, demanding to return to my room. But this time, she wouldn't be able to manipulate the situation. This time, I had proof. The camera hadn't just caught tonight's attack, it had recorded weeks of escalating abuse, of Diana's mask slipping when she thought no one was watching. And now finally, someone was going to watch it all. Detective Lisa Winters sat in my hospital room, reviewing the security footage on her laptop. Each video clip showed Diana's carefully constructed cacade crumbling, threatening gestures, accidental shoves, destroyed possessions, and finally, the clear footage of her pushing me down the stairs. "You've been documenting this for months," Detective Winters noted, pausing the footage. "Why didn't you come forward sooner?" I shifted uncomfortably in my hospital bed, wincing at the pain in my ribs. Who would believe me? Diana's the perfect wife, the grieving widow's angel who saved our family. Dad thinks she can do no wrong. As if summoned by our conversation, my father's angry voice echoed from the hallway. "This is ridiculous. My wife would never." "Mr. Bennett," Detective Winters called out, "please come in. There's something you need to see." My father stormed in, followed by a suspiciously calm Diana. Her composed expression faltered when she spotted the detective's laptop. "Before anyone speaks," Detective Winters said, "I'm going to play this footage." The video started with Diana in my room, rifling through my desk. When I confronted her, she grabbed my arms, explaining the defensive bruises Dr. Chen had noticed. Then came the argument at the stairs, Diana's face contorting with rage as she shoved me backward. The sound of my body tumbling down the stairs filled the room. Diana's voice followed. "James, come quick." Olivia fell. My father's face had gone ashen. Diana stepped forward, her hands trembling slightly. "That's clearly edited. Olivia has always been jealous of our relationship. The footage has been authenticated." Detective Winters cut in. "The timestamp metadata is intact. This is just one incident of many we've recovered." She played more clips, Diana accidentally breaking my mother's photos, threatening me when I caught her going through my financial documents, her smug smile when my father dismissed my concerns. My father sank into a chair, looking suddenly old. "I don't understand." "I think you do, Mr. Bennett," Dr. Chen said from the doorway. "You just didn't want to see it." Diana's mask finally cracked completely. "Everything I did was for us, James. She was keeping you tied to the past, to her dead mother. I was trying to help you move forward. By attempting to kill my daughter." My father's voice was barely a whisper. "Mrs. Bennett." Detective Winters stood. "You're under arrest for attempted murder and domestic assault." Diana lunged toward my bed, but hospital security was faster. As they handcuffed her, she thrashed and screamed, "She's lying. James, don't let them do this." But my father wasn't looking at her. He was staring at the pause video, at the clear image of his wife pushing his daughter down the stairs. After Diana was taken away, my father couldn't meet my eyes. "Olivia, I should have believed you." "Yes, you should have," I said quietly. "Every time I tried to tell you about the missing money, the accidents, the threats, you chose her." "I was blind," he admitted, tears rolling down his cheeks. "After your mother died, I was so desperate not to be alone. I ignored the signs." Dr. Chen stepped in. "Mr. Bennett, your daughter needs rest. I suggest you take some time to process this. There's a counselor available if you need to talk." As my father left, Detective Winters turned to me. "The DA will want to speak with you tomorrow. With this evidence and your testimony, Diana's looking at significant prison time." Later that evening, as I drifted in and out of sleep, I heard nurses discussing Diana's background check. Apparently, I wasn't her first victim. She had a pattern of marrying grieving widowers and isolating them from their children. But I was the first to catch her on camera. My phone buzzed with a text from my best friend Emma. "Just heard what happened. I'm at the airport. Be there in 3 hours." Emma had never trusted Diana, had begged me to move in with her instead of staying at home. But I'd been determined to protect what remained of my family, to keep my mother's memory alive in the house she loved. Dr. Chen checked on me one last time before her shift ended. "You know," she said, "adjusting my IV, installing that camera wasn't just about protecting yourself. You've probably saved others from becoming her future victims." She was right. Despite the pain, despite the betrayal, I felt a strange sense of peace. The truth was finally out, and Diana couldn't hurt anyone else. As I fell asleep, I looked at the small photograph of my mother on the bedside table, the one I always carry with me. "I did it, Mom," I whispered. "I protected our family. For real this time." 3 months after Diana's arrest, I sat in a courtroom for her sentencing hearing. Emma squeezed my hand as the prosecutor presented her closing argument, detailing not just my case, but 3 other families Diana had terrorized over the past decade. "Your Honor," the prosecutor concluded, "the pattern is clear. Diana Bennett systematically targeted grieving families, isolating and abusing vulnerable children while depleting their inheritances. The premeditated nature of her actions, culminating in the attempted murder of her stepdaughter, demands the maximum sentence." Diana sat at the defense table, her designer clothes replaced by prison garb, her perfectly styled hair now showing gray roots. She pleaded guilty to reduced charges, hoping for leniency. But the evidence was overwhelming. Not just my videos, but financial records showing how she'd systematically drained money from every family she infiltrated. My father, sitting 2 rows behind me, had aged years in the past 3 months. After Diana's arrest, we discovered she'd stolen nearly $200,000 from my mother's life insurance fund. Money that had been meant for my education. Before I deliver my sentence, the judge announced, "Ms. Bennett, do you have anything to say to your victims?" Diana stood, and for a moment I saw her try to summon her old manipulative charm. "Your Honor, I deeply regret my actions. I only wanted to help these families move forward, to create new beginnings. By attempting to murder my daughter—" My father interrupted, his voice breaking. The judge silenced him with a look but nodded in acknowledgement. "Mrs. Bennett, your actions show no genuine remorse. You systematically targeted grieving families, exploited their vulnerability, and responded with violence when your schemes were discovered." Diana's facade finally crumbled. "They were weak," she spat. "All of them, clutching their precious memories, refusing to let go. I made them stronger." 20 years, the judge declared. No possibility of parole for 15. Additionally, you were ordered to pay full restitution to all affected families. As the bailiff led Diana away, she locked eyes with me one last time. I saw nothing of the polished, caring stepmother she pretended to be, only the cold calculation that had been there all along. Outside the courthouse, Emma hugged me tightly. "It's really over," she whispered. My father approached hesitantly. Our relationship was still fragile, healing slowly through weekly therapy sessions and careful conversations. "Olivia," he said softly, "I've put the house on the market." I looked at him in surprise. The house had been his last connection to his life with my mother, the reason he'd been so vulnerable to Diana's manipulation. "It's time," he continued. "Your mother, she would want us to truly move forward, not just pretend to. I found a smaller place closer to your grad school." The mention of grad school made me smile. With Diana's restitution payments and my father's support, I could finally pursue my dream of becoming a victim advocate counselor. Dr. Chen had written me a glowing recommendation letter, citing my strength and resilience. "Actually," I said, "I have news too. The Domestic Violence Center offered me a part-time position while I study. They want me to help other survivors document their abuse, teach them about collecting evidence safely." Pride flickered across my father's face. "You're so much like your mother," he said. "She always found ways to help others, even after experiencing her own pain." Emma chimed in, "Speaking of helping others, guess who's been invited to speak at the victim support group next month?" I nodded. The support group had been instrumental in my healing, showing me I wasn't alone. Now I could share my story, teach others about the warning signs I'd missed, the importance of gathering evidence, and most crucially, that they deserved to be believed. Later that evening, as Emma and I packed boxes in my childhood home, I found an old photo album. Inside was a picture of my mother in her office. She'd been a family lawyer, fighting for those who couldn't fight for themselves. "You know," Emma said, looking at the photo, "your mom would be really proud of how you handled everything. You didn't just survive Diana, you made sure she couldn't hurt anyone else." I touched the photograph gently. I finally understood what Mom always said about justice needing evidence as well as truth. The camera caught what Diana really was, but it was my choice to stand up and use that evidence that made the difference. As we continued packing, I felt lighter than I had in years. Diana had tried to erase my mother's memory from our lives, but instead she'd pushed me to become more like her, strong, protective, and unwilling to let abusers hide behind their masks. The security camera that caught Diana's true nature now sat in an evidence box, its job done. but its legacy would live on in the lives of other survivors I would help, teaching them that sometimes the best weapon against darkness is simply shining a light on the truth.